You know all those criticisms I had about the Slashening? Well, this brand new sequel fixes all of that in the first 15 minutes. Judging from the title and its awesome poster, you know that you're in for a real treat. Thankfully, this movie did not disappoint, and I will explain why without giving too much away. In Slashening, the final beginning, we follow 22-year-old Madison Santangeli. Those of you who have already watched the first movie should be familiar with that last name. Madison moves to Brooklyn to start a new life in the wake of her father's suicide. Traumatized by the film's backstory, Madison begins to share her trauma with an emotional support group. Not too long after that, members of the group begin to get killed off by a killer who looks identical to the one from 5 years ago.
But we're all here for one reason. To heal. Together.
I had a blast watching this movie. It's bigger, faster paced, and the kills are more creative. Brandon Bassam, the writer and director of the original Slashing film, also wrote and directed this sequel. As much as I dug the humor in the original, this film, to me, is far superior. It had me laughing through most of the runtime. We're introduced to a new cast of characters, minus one returning from the original film. Why or how this particular character was able to come back is beyond me. It's never really explained, but that's what makes it so funny. The cast is great, and this time around, the characters themselves feel more original. The casting is very diverse, and the humor within the dialogue and slapstick is very well done.
I'm black, bitch!
This movie is a perfect example as to what a sequel should be. The opening of the movie takes us back to the house where the original murders took place. Shortly after the recap, the bag-faced killer returns to deliver a high body count. This is even before the film's title is shown on screen, so within the first 15 minutes, it's already off to a great start. Thankfully, the rest of the movie is very well paced. At no point did I peek over to see how much time was left. I enjoyed the banter between the characters, and I thought the main story was a little more fleshed out this time around. The final beginning has a bit of a higher budget, but that's not really crucial to what makes this film work. My favorite scene in the entire movie takes place inside of an art gallery. The art on the walls are of one particular subject, and it's hilarious. The way this scene is shot later on is also very clever. It's not something you see in these types of movies.
I control it! What the fuck?
The final beginning does get a little more creative with its approach to the slasher genre. Despite the budget, the death scenes in this movie are great. Again, the biggest strength to this film is within the writing. Overall, I thought the final beginning was a great movie. It kicks off with a high body count right from the beginning, and it kept me entertained all the way through. The cast is great and the humor works so well. The comedic timing is spot on, and the music made for the film is hilarious. It feels like the filmmakers took every criticism they had from the original and used that to work and improve on with the sequel. I say that because the final beginning fixed every single complaint I had about the original film. This sequel is far superior, and I would recommend watching the original film just so you can watch this one right afterwards. Honestly, it's one of the best Troma releases I've ever seen.
Shawarma. No, don't say that. Don't say it. I mean, it's a food. So.
In the description below, I've provided links to where you can watch both of these movies. Normally, I would recommend physical versions to build up your collections. However, I do recommend that you check out watch.troma.com. It's Troma Entertainment streaming service. It's very affordable, and they've got a ton of content on there for every die-hard horror fanatic. It's got both Slashening films, not to mention classics like The Toxic Avenger, Romeo and Juliet, and one of my personal favorites, Terror Firmer. Check it out for yourself. You will not be disappointed.